rounding up to our hundreds place. So remember, our I can statement is I can explain how to round decimals and explain how they're useful, and we can round decimals to any place. Remember, let's go over some quick vocabulary. Accurate. Remember, if I say what's the accurate number, that means I want to know how would you read that number exactly. So there's an accurate number of fireflies in that jar. But if I want to estimate, now remember, estimate is a close number that's close to the exact number. There's an accurate number of of 8 butterflies, but there's an estimate of about 10. So see how 10 is close to 8, but it's not the accurate number. So that's the difference between the accurate number and the estimate. Remember, our decimal, the decimal separates the whole numbers from the fraction part. So like the tenths, the hundreds, the thousands, that 5, we have to work on it. That 5 is in the ones place. 1 is a whole number, okay? And that decimal separates it. The decimal always goes in between the tenths place and the ones place. And then lastly, when we're rounding, rounding is similar to an estimate. But when they want us to round, they tell us exactly what place that we need to round to. All right, so now let's look at our in our practice for today. So we have a number line. It says round 6 4/10 to the nearest whole number. But I need to find out where would 6 4/10 go on my number line. So they gave us, since we're rounding to the nearest whole number, that means they want us to round to the ones place. But I need to know where would I put 6 4/10 on my number line. Can somebody help me? What number will go right in between before we find out where 6 4/10 is going? I want to know what number falls directly in between 6 and 7. Let me look in the chat. Let's see. Eric, yes, Eric put it. Eric says 6.5, but how will we read 6.5 is right in between 6 and 7, but how will we read 6.5 as a decimal? Go ahead, Kendall. How would I read 6.5 as a decimal?
6.5.
6 and what?
6 and 5.
6 and 5 what?
Tenths.
Yep, there you go. 6 and 5/10. Thank you, Kendall. All right, so that's correct. Eric and Kendall helped us out. So on our number line, I know 6 and 4/10 is between 6 and 7. Now I have to finish dividing this number line into 10 parts because we have our tenths place. So I need to divide this into 10 parts. So this is 6 wholes. Next, I would actually have 6 and 1/10. Then I would have 6 and 2/10. What would come next? Can I have some hands up in the chat? What would I need to write next after 6 and 2/10? Let me see who I got. Roia, go ahead and help me out, girl. Q, be ready, Q, because I'm going to need your help, sir.
You will put 6 and 3/10.
6 and 3/10.
Then
What's next?
6 and 4/10.
Yep. Oh, hold on, I love drawing tool lagging. Yep, 6 and 3/10. Then 6 and 4/10. Look, so that means Eric was right when Eric told us earlier that it was going to be 6 and 5/10. Look, we put it right in the middle, so that works. Roia, what goes after 6 and 5/10 though?
6 and 6/10.
6 and 6/10.
6 and 7/10.
Yep, 6 and 7/10.
6 and 8/10.
6 and 8/10.
6 and 9/10.
Yeah, let me get my 8. What comes after 6 and 9/10, Roia?
7.
7, yes, that was a trick question, but you got it. Good job. 7 holes, and they already have that there. On my chart, can somebody tell me where would we find 6 and 4/10 on our number line? Can somebody tell me? Because I want to be able to find that. Josiah, Did you want to go, Josiah? Hey, Jabari, make sure you're in the near pod, Jabari. Josiah, did you want to go? I thought I saw you say, yeah, so you asked to go. Go ahead, Josiah. Okay, so it's still that echo, Josiah. So so next time I'm gonna let you know when to type in the chat next, okay, Josiah? Because I don't know, I'm not sure why it's still an echo. Let me say, I want to hear from somebody different. Paradise, and then Zanaya, I'll let you go after Josiah. Paradise, what two numbers does 6 and 4/10 go in between? Where can I?
6 and 6/10 and 6 and 3/10 and 6 and 5/10.
Yes, there you go. So this is where we can find 6 and 4/10 on our number line. Now let's make some prediction, y'all. Get ready to write in the chat. I want everybody to write. Do you think that 6 and 4/10 is going to round to 6? Or do you think it's going to round to 7? Put your predictions in the chat. Make sure you use your own knowledge. Don't just try to put 6 or 7 because you saw him. No, Q, I'm gonna tell you when to go. When I call on you, Q, you better be ready. All right, I'm seeing some in the chat. Put 6 and 7, 6 or 7. What is your guess? Put it in the chat. Thank you, Kendall. Thank you, Roia. Thank you, Zanaya. I need to see y'all in the chat. Thank you, Josiah. Jarvis, where you at? Ashley, where you at? Jabari, I need y'all in the chat. Raekwon, Cameron, I need y'all in the chat. Let's go. Destiny. Let me see. Destiny, you should be over in Mrs. Reese group. Raekwon, Cameron, where y'all at? Oh, Q, go ahead, unmute Q, because I saw you put an explanation. I like that. Q, tell me, why did you make the guess? You made a prediction that 6 and 4/10 was going around to 6. How did you make that prediction? Go ahead, unmute, explain to us how you got that.
Because the 4 is by 3, 2, and 1, and then 5 go by 6, 7, 8, and 9. So that's when I know that 6.4 is going back to the 6.
Yes, it's closer. We can see that. That is the perfect explanation. Q, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I want to see from you every single day, Q. You are correct. So if you put 6 in the chat, you were correct. We can see just by using our number line that 6 and 4/10 was way closer to 6 than it was to 7. But now let's use our steps. So that's one strategy. We're learning multiple strategy, guys. So our first strategy was using our number line. Now let's use our steps that we've been working on this week to help us out. All right, step 1, Eric, help me out. What's the first step that we would take to rounding 6 and 4/10 to the nearest whole number if we follow our second strategy? Go ahead and unmute. All right, you.
All right, so if we're going to use this strategy, we're going to have to underline the place we're rounding to first.
What place are we rounding to?
We're rounding to the 6th place.
Wait, I don't have a 6th place.
I mean the 1's place.
Thank you. I got a 1's place. Now, what digit is in the 1's place?
6.
The 6 is in the 1's place. Yeah. So if you notice, anytime that it tells you to round to the nearest whole number, that means they want you to round to the 1's place. So that 6 is in the 1's place, meaning I had to underline my 6. Eric, what's the next step?
Circle the number to the right of it.
Yep. What digit is to the right of 6?
4.
4. Yep. Now let's think about our rules. Is this 4 or less or 5 or more?
It's 4 or less.
4 or less. So 4 or less means let it rest. So what's going to happen to that 6? Is it going to change or is it going to stay the same?
It's going to stay the same.
It's going to stay the same. So we're going to keep the 6. And then our very last step, everything behind the underlying digit changed to a 0. So that 4 is now a what?
The 4 is now a 0.
It's now a 0. So we got the same exact answer. We have 6 holes. And even since that 0 doesn't have a value, we can always just write 6. And that's it. All right, now let's try to practice another one. I liked it. I liked it. Okay. So now can somebody read us our new problem? What does our new problem say? I need some hands in the chat. Let me see Cameron. Cameron, I haven't heard from you, Cameron. Can you read me the question, Cameron? And then Zanaya, I'll have you help me label the number line, okay? Cameron, unmute. Read the problem for me. Let's go. Let's go. Some of y'all need to make sure you paying attention, Cameron. I don't think you paying attention, Cameron. I might have to call mom to see what's going on because I haven't heard any participation from you. Raekwon, let's go, Raekwon. Read me our problem, Raekwon. If it's something wrong, Cameron, put it in the chat. But if it's not, you need to get it together. Because I haven't seen you in the chat writing. And I'm going to need you in there. Raekwon, let's go. And I know the mics work, so y'all don't even play.
Hello?
Go ahead. Read the question.
Now round 2 and 36 to the nearest
By the way, 36 what? Hundreds, yes. 2 and 36 hundredths rounded to what?
The nearest 10.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Raekwon. All right, Zanaya. Now help me out, Zanaya. This one might be a little bit more tricky. So now notice how in our last problem it was between 6 and 7, and we had 7 and a half. Yes, I'll try you in just a second, Josiah. So now, Zanaya, tell me what's gonna go in between 2 and 3/10 and 2 and 4/10. And remember, this is also kind of like 2 and 30 hundredths and 2 and 40 hundredths. What's going to be my plot that I need to put in the middle, Zanaya?
2 and 30 hundredths.
Hold on, 2 and 30 hundredths is right here. Remember, 2 and 3/10 is the same thing as 2 and 30 hundredths. So now if that's 2 and 30 hundredths and this is 2 and 40 hundredths, what needs to go in the middle? 2 and what? Think about it. What goes in between 30 and 40?
30 and 40. 5.
5 goes in
35.
between. Thank you. So what should go in the middle? Read the entire decimal.
2 and 35 hundredths.
2 and 35 hundredths. Good job. So I need to split the rest of my number line into 10 parts. So if I had 2 and 30 hundredths, what's going to come next? 2 and what?
2 and 32 hundredths.
I don't wait. We skipped one.
Wait.
2 and 31 hundredths. Then 2 and 32 hundredths.
2 and 33 hundredths. 2 and 34 hundredths. 2 and 35 hundredths.
Yep, and that's the one you had already gave us. What comes after 2 and 35 hundredths? Joe, hold on 1 second. Josiah, be ready to try to tell me where to find 2 and 3600s on our chart. But go ahead, Zanaya, what comes next?
2 and 3600s.
2 and 3600s.
2 and 3700s.
2 and 3700s.
2 and 3800s. 2 and 3900s. And 3 whole. I'm at 3 and
2
yeah.
and it's okay. 2 and 4000s. Good job.
Yeah.
All right, so now we got to see on our last problem, it was between 2 whole numbers. We had 6 and 7, but this time it was between 2 decimals, 2 and 3000s and 2 and 4000s. So we had to write in between. So now Josiah, try to unmute this time. Let's see if it works.
You hear me clear?
Yep, I can hear you clearly. Where would I find 2 and 3600s on our chart?
2 and 4000. You will find that 200. I mean 2 and 4000s.
I want to find it where on the chart between what 2 points on the chart?
Oh, it's between 2 and no, it's between 2 and 3500s and 2 and 3700s.
Yes, good job. It's right here on our chart. Now, everybody, go ahead. Put your predictions in. Do you think it's going to round to 2 and 4000s, or do you think it's going to round to 2 and 3000s? Go ahead. Put your predictions in the chat. Is 2 and 3600s going to round to 2 and 4000s or 2 and 3000s? Put it in the chat. 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 Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let's put it in the chat. Cameron, I need to see you in the chat, or I'm calling mama. Let me pull up my parent phone number. Let's go. Let me see in the chat and be ready to be able to explain. Jarvis, can you unmute? Explain to me, why did you put 2 and 4000s? Sammy, why did you put 2 and 4000s? Go ahead, Jarvis, unmute. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'm going to have to create a whole list of parents to call today, because y'all think Miss Baker playing with y'all, but it's all right. It is okay. Go ahead, Kendall.
2 and 3600s will round to 2 and 4000s because the 6 is a greater number, so it will go up instead of down.
Yes, but if we looking by, that's correct. But by looking at our number line, how do you know that it will round to 2 and 4000s?
Because 2 and 3600s is closer to 2 and 4000.
Yep, that is exactly correct. That is exactly correct. Because if we look at our number line, we can see 2 and 3600s is way closer to 2 and 4000s than it is to 2 and 3000s. All right, now let's go use our other strategy. We're going to use our other strategy to help us out. We have 2 and 3600s. We're rounding to our nearest tens place. So I know I need to underline my digit 3, because 3 is in the tens place. Make sure y'all recognize the difference between the tens place and the ones place. Step 2, I'm going to circle the digit to the right. 6 is my digit to the right. Steps 3 and 4, I'm going to ask myself, is this 4 or less or 5 or more? And that 6 is 5 or more. So I'm going to raise my 3 one score. So that 3 now changes to a 4. And then our very last step is everything after the underlying digit changes to a 0. So that 6, we don't need it anymore. We're going to change it to a 0. And then now we're going to bring that decimal and 2 down. So you guys were correct. It rounds to 2 and 40 hundredths. That means, I know since y'all been doing so good at this, that means you're already rounded homework. That means it should be easy and done quick. All right, now I'm going to give you guys a chance to practice on your own. So you should be on your Nearpod. Everybody should be on this. Your step 1, let me explain what you're doing for step 1. Step 1, you are going to count how many parts you have and then write it as a decimal. After you write it as a decimal, you're going to round that decimal to the nearest 10th place and then put your answer right here. After you finish that, I want you to go on your chart here. I want you to fill in the plots on this number line. So we just practiced. So since this is 2 and 5/10, which is the same as 2 and 50 hundredths, I know the next one is going to be 51 hundredths, then 52 hundredths. After you have filled in your chart, I want you to round 584 thousandths to the nearest 10th place. I'm going to set my timer. Go ahead and complete that right now. Okay, thank you for letting me know, Jarvis. As long as you was able to let me know, you're good. You're fine. Jelani, that shouldn't be true. I'm not sure why it would do that. But Jarvis, you're fine. Don't worry. As long as you're able to explain, I'm good. But everybody else who not explaining what's going on, your parent getting called. Jarvis, you don't have to worry. Jelani, weren't you able to get into Nearpod before?